Okay, this is Guernsey at present is looking at changing its curriculum. They've had primary and secondary teachers, head teachers, looking at this together, and then there was a small working party which I was asked to be part of for one of the meetings. They already had growth mindset on there, but I'm quite glad that I was attending the meeting because it was just helping them understand, yeah, that actually keep that on there, that no one was going to say, let's take it off. It comes in the overarching principles, which was sort of the golden threads that are running through everything really. The elements of learning I think we're going to change to learning behaviours and attitudes so that school can focus on ones that they're considering are important to them. And I think there was only one head teacher who said, well, why do we have growth mindset? If we've got learning behaviours and attitudes, then surely that's enough because they are growth mindset. And it was about trying to say, well, it's science. It's something which we know good teachers have been doing for years, even before the term growth mindset was there. But it's making it more visible. It's now it will become an entitlement, basically, for every single child, almost a human right, which Carol Dweck talks about, I know, in some of her speeches and some of the talks she gives. It's on there. And you're not going to get children to be the best they can be if you're not embracing a growth mindset. Whether you use that word or not doesn't matter, but it's there so that it can be very visible as an entitlement for every single child in Guernsey.
I think one of the dangers with growth mindset, because growth mindset was, if you like, put in as a term which was more accessible than incremental learners from Carol's first book, Self Theories, which was a very academic piece of work. The danger is it becomes either a cliche or seen as an initiative. Okay, and it's what we've worked really hard to do is to say, look, this isn't an initiative, it's a common term for a scientific explanation. So actually moving it away from an initiative and saying, because one of the teachers said, well, why have we not got de Bono's hats or AFL in there? Well, that's method. This is the science, the theoretical science behind how people achieve their best. If you haven't got a growth mindset, how do you go about achieving your personal best? We'd argue you can't. Okay, so it's fundamental if we're asking our children to achieve their personal best.
Okay, this is another example of a letter home to parents about what they're going to do, but also we've linked quite a lot with Education Scotland recently. The Education Department itself has just had its validated self-evaluation. The report is in the Chief Officer's office at the moment. I haven't seen it, although I hear that the Mindset in Schools project is being put in as an example of good practice, but I can't say that for sure because I haven't seen it yet and it's not official till next week. But this was a school that Education Scotland came and did the VSE of, and it's got, in addition, staff are developing an understanding of growth mindsets to recognise that ability and achievement are not predetermined. So again, being picked up in inspections, that is something that's really, you know, is important, it's definitely worth mentioning, and is something that schools are starting to recognise, starting to do. It is a journey. They're on a journey. I wouldn't say any of them are there yet, although a couple pretty close to it. This was one head teacher just wanted feedback from the staff. So again, the impact, we haven't got reams and reams of numbers to measure impact. Some of the schools are doing that, but what we've got is so much qualitative evidence, examples where teachers are saying, you know, this is what I've done differently, and this is the difference it's making. Children saying, I cannot do it yet. Children enjoying being challenged, using open-ended questions and questioning each other. Okay, we know if they do that, it's going to have an impact on their learning.
Again, it's been a great opportunity to come up here and present, and thank you for Winning Scotland for giving us the opportunity, because it's given us the opportunity to really reflect on our journey, because sometimes we're in the middle of it, you're up against little challenges on a day-to-day basis, and you don't always notice the little incremental improvements that have been happening. And again, some of the context of Guernsey is Guernsey, in terms of academic results, I think it's the 11th most improved,
it's the ninth most improved
authority in the UK, which isn't growth mindset. We're not going to stand there and say that. We only published our GCSE results until for the last 5 years, before it's all been kept under wraps. So there's been a massive educational shake-up. The department is working really, really hard, and we've got a great sort of team in place doing lots of fantastic work. But we're on a massive journey with our educational system, and there's lots of good work happening. What's been great for us, I think, is we've been allowed to be organic, to go where the need is, to not be pressured by, if you like, some of the more bureaucratic processes that are in place with our states. We've got states of 5,500 people. It's criticised for being slow, not joined up. But I suppose because of our roles, mine in sport, Rachel's also working in sport, and as an EP, we've been perceived slightly differently. We're not the education officers who are in charge of school improvement, going in telling people what they have to do. It's sort of Jeremy and Rachel who you can kind of meet socially, or actually can come into school if you ask to, and we're not on their backs about anything. So that's, I think, made a massive difference. Also, I like to think we're pretty authentic in terms of why we're doing what we're doing. Our children are in the system. We work with the teachers of our children as well. And I think that whole message of it actually being about the whole community and not just doing a job in school has been great. I think I'd like to say I'm a leadership sort of guru and be able to tell you all about leadership, but actually the nurturing of our first followers has kind of happened by accident, partly. We saw those people as important. We didn't want to tell them what to do, but recognising actually that we have done quite a good job with those key individuals in school who've shown the initial enthusiasm, we've stepped back and let them get on with it and not tried to take credit. Equally for John, our Chief Officer, I think has done a fantastic job of that and acting as a buffer for us. I think sport and education, working in partnerships has been great. The arts, it would be nice if they can get on board as well, because I think we talk a lot about sport and education, but I think the arts has got a massive role to play in it as well. We've got advantages with Guernsey because you can walk down to Costa Coffee and have a coffee with anyone pretty much in 5 or 10 minutes. It was a bit of a rain check for me coming up here and actually speaking to various people and thinking, oh no, they're actually going to drive 50 minutes to come for a coffee in Edinburgh. It doesn't quite work like that. But we do have that advantage. But it's almost like our advantages and the disadvantages of being in Guernsey are actually magnified, because if you get a problem in one place, that can actually be a massive challenge and be a big roadblock. So we've had to work really creatively, partly again by accident, but because of the organic nature and lots of people wanting it from lots of different areas, things have actually kind of still kept moving. And that's the kind of comment around more ways to skin a cat, more than one way. Again, for us at the moment, our high schools recognise we're in a massive period of change. It's not the right time to be sort of putting it upon them as something they have to do. Again, there's pockets of fantastic practice. We'll get individual teachers coming to us. I know Rachel would speak very highly of her daughter's maths teacher. There's a couple of others that have done some fantastic things that's been showcased around the island. Also, to be aware of that, the growth mindset isn't a stick to beat people. It's not something that should be going around waving people to work hard. It's something that it's about, as Morag said, it's a way of being. It's creating a culture by which a growth mindset, you can touch it and feel it without even saying the words. And I think there's actually a big danger in overusing the words, that it does become a cliche and people get a bit bored of it. I'm particularly aware of that because I'm always aware of every time I walk into an environment as a coach that, oh, here comes Frith and growth mindset. Well, that's not what I'm here to do. As Rachel said, the false growth mindset, we see a lot of it, the idea of people coming in, sticking a display up, thinking they're doing it. Also, we've had where we've had the greatest impact, it's been the bottom-up approach of the teachers loving it, along with the heads, a change of leadership or a head teacher really cottoning on, and kind of a perfect storm, if you like, where it's really worked. One of the massive challenges for us is measuring impact, because there are so many things. We had an actress going on BBC Radio Guernsey talking about kind of the skills crisis and the need for people to retrain and retrain over the next 20, 30 years and having many different careers. And him telling the radio presenter, well, Guernsey's going to have a growth mindset. Now, that guy we've never presented to that we're aware of, but suddenly he's quoting in a very different context to education about growth mindset and the need for it. And now how do you measure that? We don't know. But whilst the schools are doing individual things, trying to capture everything that's going on around the island is really challenging.